Hey everyone, welcome to this video review on this Thursday morning. I'm going to do this before I hop in the shower and get ready for work. But this video review of Sonic the Hedgehog issue 268. I tried to do this last night, folks, when I got the issue initially in the mail, but I was tired and I was just so excited in a sense. It's just, and what I mean by excited, the fact that when I read this issue, I've never laughed so hard at an issue in quite some time. I mean, we all remember when the comic first started that the comic was basically a blend of Adventures and Sat AM, you know, which equaled up to their own original Adventures. Basically, like I said, it was a blend of what you saw in the Adventure show and what you saw with Sat AM. So it was a blend, and we still got that every now and then, but it wasn't really prominent. I mean, we went through different eras, if you will. We started out, like I said, with what we had in the comic, and that was the Adventures Sat AM deal. And like I said, we continued that on until at least I think we hit the 18-ish 17, 18-ish issues, and into the 20s we were kind of on and off. And then as we hit the 30th issues, the 40th issues, and all that, we were mostly all Sat AM focused, because of course at the time the series had just gone off the air. So we were Sat AM focused. The comic was Sat AM focused for quite some time, and it took more of that serious darker turn that you're used to seeing comics do. Every now and then, yes, we would get comedicness a little bit that would remind us of what the comic was, started as originally. But every now and then, it would only come around. Mostly, like I said, the stories were very serious, very dark at times, dramatic, action, adventure, you name it. And people liked it. And that's what's helped me keep the comic going. So, when it was announced that Champions was going to be a 4-part story arc to start the year out for the comic, and people saw that one of the main characters being introduced or reintroduced to the longtime fan base in a more soft rebooted version was Breezy from Adventures, we knew possibly we were going to be in for something a little different. We knew that. I mean, some of us longtime fans had to know that if you're going to incorporate a character like Breezy from Adventures, and also through further issue cover previews, if you will, show that you had Scratch and Grounder and Coconuts, you knew for some odd but strange reason you were going to get something a little bit more comedic. Maybe a little bit more funny, slapstick-wise. Maybe. You weren't entirely sure. But you knew you were going to get it. So when I read 268, to me, we got exactly what I felt we were going to get. And I thought it was probably the funniest issue. Ian Flynn, with all due respect to anybody that doesn't like Ian Flynn, this was probably one of the funniest issues he's ever wrote. Here's why. Basically, we start out with a flashback. If you will, of Sonic confronting Coconuts. We do start out with that. In fact, I'll show you that as best I can real quickly. We do start out with a flashback with Sonic confronting Coconuts. Now, this obviously is all part of a plan set out by Robotnik of this new soft retcon to lure Sonic into a trap. So, and basically what this is more of a soft retcon, soft reboot or soft retake of the episode in Adventures. So, so basically, it's like I said, it's a soft retake on that, and I like it. It's very clever to as far as being a flashback goes. And we kind of go, and then we kind of flash over to, then the next page takes us to the present day, to Sky Patrol. And Sonic basically is finishing up on how he, that basically because of him rescuing her, that's how he knows the lovely, and he quotes, lovely Madame Breezy. And I love the fact that you have Amy just a little bit jealous. You have Amy jealous here. I mean, it's like Amy can understand, all right, maybe Sonic's attraction with Sally, that's fine, whatever. That's fine because they've been friends. But I love Amy's reaction here because it basically tells you she does get jealous, even if it's over another hedgehog. She does kind of put up a little bit of a smile. I guess that's a misdrawn or something. I don't really know. But Sonic basically tells her that, hey, relax. That was a long ago. Besides, I haven't told everyone all of my adventures. And then I like how he kind of made. I don't know if he's poking fun of maybe uh, Adventure 2 or whatever, or Sonic CD. But he kind of goes on to say that he hasn't, basically says he hasn't told everybody, he hasn't mentioned all of his adventures to everybody. And then he, especially one that he quotes, says, "Hey guys, want to hear about the time I got played for a chump derp?" And like I said, I don't know if that's that's a crack at Sonic CD or Adventure 2, and Amy kind of, maybe Adventure 2. I don't really know. And you kind of get right there a panel of the table, the round table that they're at, and everybody's just having a blast. Everybody's getting a kick out of with Sonic telling the story and basically kind of referencing, I think, to the Amy situation back, I think, with Shadow or something like that. And Antoine's like, and Antoine's basically like, I'd like to hear those stories. And Bunny's trying to tell him, hey, be nice, and everybody's just getting a kick out of it. Everybody's just having fun with it. And then you have Sally basically saying, hey, yeah, basically standing up on, basically you have Sally right here standing up and saying, okay, maybe another time perhaps. And then you have Nicole. I love this little part here. You have Nicole kind of cracking up a little bit there too, kind of getting a kick out of it. But she's like, another time. So anyway, Sally goes on to explain that Breezy has come a long way from her days of being a double agent, that she runs the largest entertainment network in the world, and that her next publicity stunt is a fighting tournament with a Chaos Emerald as the prize. So it does kind of incorporate what they're trying to do, trying to get the emerald and all that. She goes on to explain that Sonic and Tails will be representing them as team fighters, and that she's got their spots on the roster. Amy's like, hey, you can count on us. Tails is like, cool. He's looking forward to it. But then you have Bunny going, but then you have the others, like let's say Bunny, kind of saying, kind of telling Sally, look, we know we got our butts kicked last time, which was in the last issue, but they would like another crack at the Chaos Emerald as well. Now, Sally goes on to explain that she tried to get them all on the roster, but that the cutoff for registration had already expired, and Breezy would only concede to Sonic, Amy, and Tails specifically. And this is you kind of see a little bit of comedic there, where she's like, well, I tried, guys. I tried, but she would only, agree to let those three on for some reason. Now, of course, you have Rotor kind of explaining to Sally well, wait a minute, isn't Breezy connected to a lot of shady stuff? You know, you know, basically, Rhoda's explaining that. Well, Rhoda's trying to point out, well, isn't Breezy connected to a lot of shady stuff? I mean, we're trying to save the world. Why not we just take the emerald? You know, and you kind of get what he's saying. It's like, well, wait a minute, how can we trust Breezy? How can we trust this lady? Uh, basically he's like, well, how can we trust this lady with this tournament idea of hers? How can we do that? That it's how can we do that? So how can we really fully trust her? And why not we just get the emerald? Just say, look, we're not going to participate in your tournament. Just give us the emerald, and we'll be done with it. And then I like how Amy kind of now Sonic. Well, first of all, Sonic says he does like the direct route, but then Amy's like, but Amy points out they don't do that. That they're not. That Breezy is not like Eggman. And basically it looked like we'd be stealing from her. In other words, what Amy is trying to say is, hey, we're freedom. Remember, we're the freedom fighters. We earn it. If we have to do something like a tournament, we earn the prize. We don't just straight up take it. And besides, Breezy is not like Eggman. Breezy is a businesswoman. It's like Sally mentioned earlier. Breezy is a businesswoman. And she would report it like, and basically if we were to do what you're saying, it'd be like if we were stealing from her. And then of course Rhoda still stresses again still stresses, hey, hello, we're saving the world. You know, but basically it's kind of an argument between both sides. Basically Amy's pointing out, look, we know what you're saying, but it's not us, and Breezy's not Eggman. There's a difference. And you kind of get the idea of where both are coming from. It's like Rhoda's saying, hey, look, how can we trust this woman when we know she's connected to a lot of shady underground stuff or underworld stuff? Why don't we just straight up take the emerald? So basically a little bit of back and forth tidbit here. Sally comes in, tries to keep the peace a little bit. She points out that Amy's right. The world looks to them for hope now more than ever, especially with everything going on. And that if they were to go in that direction that Rhoda's saying by just taking the emerald, they'd be sowing trouble for themselves later on. In other words, she's saying, Rhoda, if we go your route and just take it, we'll be causing trouble for ourselves in the near future. It's like, basically she's pointing out, hey, if you think us trying to save the world and trying to get the emeralds away from Eggman and all that is one thing, is bad enough. It's one thing that we have to worry about and put our minds on. What do you think's going to happen if we just straight up take the emerald, steal it from Breezy, and suddenly she sends police forces, gun, and all that right after us? Now, she does point out that whether or not Breezy is a criminal kingpin or queenpin or a legitimate businesswoman, she did point out that, here's where a little bit of that adventurous influence comes in. She does point out that whether or not Breezy is a legitimate criminal kingpin, queenpin, or a legitimate businesswoman, that Sally did offer to buy the emerald off her, but Breezy wouldn't sell. So, and this is where the comedicness comes in, because here you have Sonic basically pointing out the fact that Sally's hired the Chaotix. She's now tried to pay off Breezy, and he's wondering, hey, is your dad cool with you doing all this? Is your dad cool with you using the royal treasury to do this kind of stuff? And I'll be back in a little bit.